So, a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Mill City Museum in Minneapolis, which looks at the history of flour milling, specifically that in Minnesota. Now, the museum itself was built out of the old Washburn A mill, which ran from 1878, when it opened, until 1965. Then, in 1991, there was a fire that pretty much completely destroyed the mill. So when the city was deciding what to do with it, some people chimed in and said, hey, let's turn it into a museum that, looks at the history of flour milling. So that's what they did. Now the mill, back when it was still a mill, was run pretty much entirely by the river, as really all mills were back then, which is why there were so many mills built along the Mississippi. Because the river provides a fantastic source of energy and is also a great distribution service. You can get rather far in the US just by traveling along the Mississippi. Now, the way the river would provide energy is by being redirected along these channels, where the water would then fall down these shafts and spin these turbines, as you're seeing now. Now, these here are the actual shafts that water would fall down, back before they were filled in. Now, the turbines would power the entire mill, mechanically, like through pulleys and gears. Not so much through, electromagnetic generators as we might use nowadays, because while we had the theory of them that existed back then, they weren't really in practice so much. And, as I mentioned, the entire mill would be powered by the river, which included, the grinders that would grind up the wheat, the sifters that would sift out the good wheat from the bad stuff and the stuff that needed to be ground more, and also the entire packing facility that would put the flour into the bags and seal them up so they'd be ready to be shipped off. Now, all of this moving wheat around kicked a lot of flour into the air, so there was a lot of flour dust, which created a huge health concern, because it would get into your lungs, but also a huge explosion concern, because airborne flour is rather explosive. So there were a few number of explosions at the plant. So to fix that, they built these flour collection devices that would suck up the floury air and then filter out the flour so that the air would just be all clean and could go out. So they'd do that, and that would help with things, but it wasn't perfect because the mill did burn down after all. The museum looked at other parts of the wheat process, such as the gathering of the wheat, which would then be, shipped off to be milled, and also the post-milling process, such as that oven back there where you might bake bread or pies, and then those knives that you just saw where you could, cut up your bread or whatnot. And then this 1950s era, but still suitable today kitchen, which, it's cool, but it's a kitchen. You've probably seen a kitchen. It didn't have a whole lot of new things. There's an oven, there's a sink. Probably not really anything new for you. There was also a bridge nearby that we went across and saw some cool things. For example, there was this lock here, which is how boats get up slopes. So what happens is a ship will go in this box here, and then these doors, which I don't show very well, will close. Water will then start to fill in the lock, which will lift the ship up, and then when it gets to the height of the slope, at the top of the slope that it needs to go across, it will then leave the dock, and that is how ships go up slopes. There was also this area here, which might have been, but I'm pretty sure wasn't, part of the mill. I'm guessing it's just old, abandoned things from something else. But I thought it was pretty cool, so I got video of it. Then, actually going across the bridge, I ran into this hydroelectric generator. At least, I'm guessing that's what it is, because there's water running out of the bottom, and more importantly, there are all these electrical things coming out of the top, so not certain, but pretty sure it was a generator. I then also went down these stairs that I'm pretty sure I wasn't supposed to go down, and found this tunnel, which I'm guessing used to go across or under the city, but it was blocked up, so I couldn't check. But yeah, that was the Mill City Museum and surrounding area, and here's just a look back across the river. But hope you enjoyed it, and see ya.